impossible for us to teach you anything if we believe that in an absolute way we're teaching you something. This is really not what's happening here. There's nothing that can be taught, to be put on. The teacher doesn't even exist, except by virtue of their being a student. It's just a form. When we come into this room, it's not Bart and Georgi anymore. It's dedicated to a process where the experience of any one individual is happening among us, in us, and I mean in all of us. The individual person in this form we can leave at the door. When we move over the threshold of the entry to the room, we can leave the person outside. It's really not helpful for us here, in this course. It can show up, but we can try and leave all the people outside to be here. The person that we are, the person that drove here, came here, moved here, the person with a history, with a past. With a story, even the person with a process. Leave the process outside. The future we can leave outside, the future we think we have. It's not helpful. We introduced emptiness. The thing about emptiness. Emptiness was part of the course I am here a year ago, here. So some of us have already begun moving with perception through emptiness. And for others, maybe it's a first time to jump into that place where there's nothing to be held onto. But what's for sure is that none of us, not one of us, Bart included, knows emptiness. We don't know emptiness. It's not to be known. You know, I know emptiness. I really don't know it. I can know the attempts to describe its effect. What happens when we perceive through emptiness, there's an effect. And I can know ways of describing that, and the description itself is empty. It's based on signposts, just signposts. And most of those signposts are not this, not this, not this. Signposts towards emptiness. The words are not saying what it is. They're saying, not this way. We also will never feel emptiness. It's beyond feeling. What we can feel is its effect, its emanations, what happens when we perceive through emptiness. So we can feel freedom, we can feel expansion, we can feel liberation from fear, we can feel mystery or wonder or a sense of formless beauty. But we're not feeling emptiness in its purity. It's beyond feeling. It's beyond knowing and feeling simply because it's that from which knowledge and feeling arises. So how can that which feeling comes from feel itself? So we begin perceiving through emptiness, and comes forward this sense of being able to move through everything, this fluidity, this sense of liberation. But every experience is not that which is able to experience. It's not the source of it. The source of it can't perceive itself. It can only fall back into its own refinement, into a deeper and deeper unity of perception. We hear a lot about, and we know a lot, we experience a lot, I hope, of pure awareness, the kind of infinite sense of infinity and awareness that can expand infinitely. Feeling awareness. And in a way, it's a little bit of a paradox, because whatever can come forward out of perception through emptiness, we are aware of it. There's awareness there. So it can look like awareness is in itself the end point. The end point is the perception, the awareness. Even in its finest form, that awareness is the end. This is who we are. But yet, at the same time, perception, like awareness, carries with it attitudes. Even unconscious attitudes. The way our awareness at first moves through another, the awareness itself is in a way loaded with certain attitudes. The way we move through our own energy systems with our awareness, it's got subtle attitudes in it. In the equation between push and pull, some of us push, some of us are hardly there. We let the imagination kind of do it, and we hardly make contact. We don't feel we have the right. It's not allowed. It's not allowed to be infinite. There are all kinds of attitudes. It's not allowed to be God. It's not allowed to be eternal. These are all attitudes or beliefs. Attitudes carried through perception and structured through beliefs. So awareness, even the most pure, refined awareness, if it's to believe that it is itself the end point, I am the absolute, this is an attitude, which is saying that beyond itself, there is nothing, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because it can't be felt. It's a kind of attitude of human arrogance almost. A tree doesn't have this attitude. A rock doesn't have this attitude. Awareness runs totally through wherever there's life, and there's life in every particle. It doesn't have that attitude that this is it, the end point. It easily moves beyond itself in an ongoing expansion. There's no borders. So in perception through emptiness, part of it involves a purification of attitude, a leap into what's beyond the known, beyond what can be felt, beyond even awareness. And it's not like falling asleep, although that can happen, and we do it all the time. And that is moving beyond awareness at a certain level. It's awareness itself giving up, letting itself be, but really letting itself be. Because it's not absolute. It's not absolute because it can expand, it can be directed. It can disappear and arise again. So in perception through emptiness, we're really looking at two bridges. One is the surrender in a way of consciousness, conscious control, consciousness as the director. And in this, all we need to do is move over this bridge called the now, the present moment. What's really now? The now is the direct bridge to free consciousness, for consciousness to surrender. In the now you get the purity of consciousness. Because there's no past to hook into, there's no future, there's not even a ladder to the sky needed. It's just what's here now. We know, we've heard a lot about the now. It's very popular. But what we hear much less about is the here. We say the here and the now, but we mean the now. The here, in a way, is much, much, much more important. Firstly, because the here contains the now. You can't come into being here spatially without being in the now. You have to release the whole time dimension to be here. You can't even feel the body on the chair except in the now. But that's the beginning of here. The beginning of here, when we look, where are we, will always be physical. And here, the expansion of the awareness into the physical becomes much more interesting. When we begin to expand the awareness into the physical, we begin to bring together one of the greatest divisions, which is between heaven and earth. You could be happily meditating a whole lifetime in the sky, in the infinity of sky. And the earth, it's an object, it's other. It's just appearing in the sky. And what perception through emptiness is trying to do is to realize that the sky is appearing in the earth. Is appearing in the earth. The other way around. to allow our perception to be able to be free enough of its burdens to be able to pass into matter, into the physical. At least into our own physical, which we have for such a short space of time, to really allow ourselves to penetrate our own physical bodies. So in a way, perception through emptiness begins when we connect with what is not moving, not held in time. Only this we look for. Only that which is beyond time and beyond space. So everything that's here, now, which is happening within time and space, is totally free. But we're looking through it towards the time and space which doesn't change, which isn't happening. So a feeling comes forward, or an atmosphere. It's really okay. We can pass through it because it's transient, it's passing. We're not. It's got the same emptiness in it, it's composed of, in its movement, as we are in our perception. Through the emptiness we can pass through whatever is coming forward. Or not. We can just let it go. So there's much less selection and hunting going on. Whatever arises, it's totally okay. We don't get into the now, into the power of the now, by saying, okay, now. We get there by absolutely allowing whatever's now. Including a memory that could by itself come forward. Often they don't when we allow them now. They run away. But whatever thought comes forward, it's totally allowed. Because it is in the now. In the same way, it's totally let go. It's free to go. In the now. We don't move into the here by looking for a space. Whatever is here. Until it's not here anymore. There's a quickening of vibration in this. A vibration which quickens through allowance as the key. At one layer, we're trained very deeply in a kind of longing, looking for the love, looking for the place to get to, looking for the peace, looking for the experience. And when we have it, in a way which is less disturbed by comings and goings and happenings and thoughts, we really don't want to let it go, because it's kind of a lifeboat in a way, a safe place. So, why would we ask you to let it go? Even let love go. Let really pleasant experience go? Why would we ask that? Let the process go. How could we ever persuade you to do that unless there was a trust that in letting it go, what you're allowing is the place where it comes from. Take the example of togetherness. We all like togetherness, to be together. So we have to keep our togetherness. Hold on to the family, hold on to the children, hold on to each other. There has to be a harmonious togetherness. The only way we could let that go is if we really had an apprehension or a trust of the unity the togetherness arises from. This is what gives the togetherness life. And then, why would we hold on to togetherness? We can totally trust the togetherness to arise of itself out of the unity. It's just one example. With the feeling of love, I want to feel love, I want to feel love. Why would I hold on to this surge to feel love when I can allow the space of here where love itself arises from? The real thing of itself. Totally unconditional to anything I did, which is free. Why would I look for love, to deserve it, to keep it, to earn it, when I can fall back and just allow something beyond even love, which is the source of it? The here, when you really inquire into the here, it begins to melt the belief in separation, being separated one from the other, on all the different layers. And I don't mean at this stage separation between individuals. That's actually less of a problem. It's the separation from the source of who we are. There's so much we take for granted, and yet we keep the belief of separation. For example, we all got up this morning in a different space. We were there. And we moved like molecules around, and we organized here. The same one was there, not moving, not changing, not organizing, and is still here now, here. And it's not separate in us. It's not a different Hansen that brushed her teeth in the morning from the one that sits here. The form might have clean teeth. It's not a different one. It's not different ones than were here a year ago. Actually, no time passed, in a way. A kind of time passed, but a deeper level, there isn't any time passing there at all.
I told my brother he's the same now as he was as a child, and he was saying, "No, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not." And then the next morning there was a little note for me which was saying, "Well, what you just said yesterday, I will think about it." It pleased me so much. So.
This one doesn't go away even when we die. It's not held in time and space. It's not held in physical time. It's not, when somebody does die, this isn't gone. Which means there's a lot of confusion or denial in a way, and difficulty in grief, because it doesn't feel real. They're not gone. This source, which is so much part of the gut of who we are, it's not gone, it's not moved. It constantly confronts the mind that wants to hold things in form, including ourselves. So when we open and say that it's one process happening here, in this room, in these 3 days, it really is. There isn't my stuff, your stuff. There's just arisings. We couldn't even pretend it was different. This is really how it is. And there's not really teachers and students. There's inquiry, there's an opening. Reunion, in a way, return to unity.